We have magical mayhem in the Marvel manor with What If issue 18. What if Doctor Strange were a disciple of Dormammu? In a nutshell, the idea here is, what if Doctor Strange had become an evil sorcerer instead of a good guy? The stapling of this is kinda annoying too. This is by Peter Gilbert and Screaming Lord Such. The latter may be best known for drawing some of Royce Sternham's first Doctor Strange stories. We have a straight up recap of the origin of Doctor Strange. Arrogant surgeon was in an accident, couldn't work anymore, went to the Himalayas in search of a mystic, exposed the mystic's apprentice for plot and betrayal, and then became the mystic's new apprentice. We have that recapped here so we understand more where things change in this alternative history. This time, Baron Zordon, the scheming apprentice, interferes and mends Doctor Strange's injuries behind his master's back. So Doctor Strange returns to his life as an uncaring surgeon with his now recovered hands, and thus he never did become the master of the mystic arts. This issue of What If is largely based on the origin of Doctor Strange as told in Strange Adventures 115. There's a few other Stanley Lee and Steve Dittman stories that it also takes massive cues from. And then I think, I've not actually read it, but Doctor Strange issue 9 by Steve Engeltine would appear to be a basis for a lot of the plot too. When the medical career goes down the drain due to a malpractice suit, Doctor Strange is reapproached by Baron Zordon, who takes him on as his apprentice, and the two are servants of the Dark Lord Dormammu. This distresses Tilda Swinton, the mystic from before, who has failed in his task to recruit Doctor Strange as a force for good. And then we see that it intrigues Dormammu's sister, Uma Thurman. Uma Thurman, the one that raped Hulk. Sorry, no, the one that moon-dragoned Hulk. And David Banner. Excellent character. Tilda Swinton seeks a new apprentice and first approaches Mr. Doom. Mr. Doom refuses to become anyone else's inferior and rejects Tilda Swinton's offer. Great little scene. And then we get to the part of the tale that all of you will be excited about. Without an apprentice, Tilda Swinton has now had to gather together an assemblage of other magicians and mystics to oppose Dormammu and his new servant, Doctor Strange. We have a smattering of characters from Continuity, and I won't hide it away, I won't bury the lead. I'll start with the one that matters. We have Dr. Doom, famous Avenger and award-winning lover, Dr. Doom. And of all of them, he has a fucking arc and everything in this. It's also worth noting that outside of a then recent appearance in Hulk, Dr. Doom was considered relatively obscure at the time of this issue. He hadn't met the Avengers yet. That wouldn't come for another 3 years. He just had that Hulk appearance and his original, racially insensitive stories to his name. I think he had an appearance in Ghost Driver around the same time as this issue. I don't know, I'm not sure when that one came out. I am doing these in order of familiarity. Possible pun there, because the next one has a familiar. But I'm not going clockwise, I'm just doing them in the order we know them. Next is Catherine Hahn, the hard bag from Fantastic Force, who was played by an actress at least 30 years too young to be the character. An actress I'm ashamed to say I have masturbated to. We also have a Andy Book classic, a character who appears right at the start of the A to Z's. The aged Gillis from Strange Adventures. Is that okay to say? Genghis. It feels like that might be a racist word now. Coming from the same period is Rama Khalif. He's a go-to for many writers who want a generic magic user from the Silver Age who knows Doctor Strange. And our last lot are Count Kerezi, Lord Fife, and Turin Barim, all from Doctor Strange issue 9. That's Steve Englehart 1. Not over yet though, because even though the stapling makes it kinda hard to see them on the page, also in their presence is Wang and Victoria Beckham. You know Wang, Doctor Strange's manservant usually, but Victoria Beckham was a very early supporting character in Doctor Strange. She was in like the second or third ever Doctor Strange story. She later became Darth Knight's off-panel lover for a time. The motley crew of mystics plan to contact Eternity, but Tilda Swinton has had trouble doing this in the past. She was cast out and deemed unworthy of Eternity's presence. And really, Dr. Doom, he stands out as the character here. He doesn't care about Tilda Swinton being judged unworthy by Eternity. He thinks that they should get Eternity to listen to them, and in keeping with Dr. Doom's beloved character, he will fuck things up for all of them. Back with the naughty version of Doctor Strange, he dispatches Baron Zordon on the orders of his Dark Master. And then we start getting into Son of Capwolf approved territory for What If. What If should have more often pursued ideas strictly along these lines. Uma Thurman, a character I regret naming that because the character is very sexy and the actual Uma Thurman is not. She appears to Doctor Strange and she seduces him and they become lovers. This is great comics. I want more What If stories to be, what if the heroes shagged their hot female enemies? What if Captain America banged Madam Hydra's? What if Hulk rattled Moonstump? What if Thor got with... Oh, they did that. It was canon. And it was great. Uma Thurman is manipulating Doctor Strange. She intends to use him against her brother Dormammu. She wants the two to take care of each other and then leave all the power up for grab by herself. But this Doctor Strange is so sinister that he too is using Uma Thurman and suspects she has plans against him. Meanwhile, right at the top of this page, Dr. Doom makes discoveries he keeps to himself that will not help the heroes of this piece, the Mystics, as they are attacked by Doctor Strange and Dormammu's army of wraiths. What we have here, this final thrust of the story is basing itself on the opera from Strange Adventures 135 through to 141, I think it was. The wraiths are from that. They come from that story specifically. Even the bit with Dr. Doom and the scroll and the aged Gillis. That is from 136. And much of what we have here is a warped version of that overall story. There's also bits of 146 as well, which was Steve Ditman's final issue. And it is here where we have our big Dr. Doom fuck-up. He has his mind elsewhere on his own plan, and so he isn't 100%ing it in this ritual with the others. He then breaks from the circle and starts trying to start his own invocation, trying to summon forth eternity. It is a wrong spell. He misread it. It was mistranslated. And instead it will bring eternal doom instead of eternity, just like in Strange Adventures 136. Good old Dr. Doom. They are all, including Doctor Strange, sucked off into magic lands. And the aged Genghis, completely mad, happily drifts off into the void, laughing. Dr. Doom tries to save him. Doctor Strange, on the other hand, falls further and further into the dimension where he now comes face to face with eternity. Eternity quickly judges Doctor Strange, as it had once judged Tilda Swinton, and it deems him a waste of potential and sends him back to Earth. I did consider ending here, but then we get Dr. Doom's arc. He realises he was wrong, and he wishes to repent. If only in the actual comics he would continue down a path of realising when he was wrong and when he has fucked up. Now, Doctor Strange, he wants more and more power so that he can go back and best eternity. We have some more of that evil sex with Uma Thurman. Like with a lot of what ifs, I feel with this, there is such a good story here, and it is packed to the brim. I want more of it. I think you could do this across 2 parts. It could be its own mini-series even. There is a lot of stuff to tap into that we don't here. Elements we could focus more on, like Dr. Doom's part. There's even other characters that could be brought in. Notably, we get no accountant at all for Rachel McAdams in this universe. Doctor Strange is too busy ploughing a man, which is also an important element that we could focus more on. The sad thing is, I don't feel that Uma Thurman's plans to betray him go anywhere. It's great. It's nice that we got that characterisation for her, even if it might feel like setup for stuff that never happens. The plot moves on from it. Doctor Strange moves on from it. Here, he gans back and attacks the magicians again. He possibly even murders most of them. We do see some other mystics in one of the final panels, which could be them, but this scene seems to suggest he dealt with them permanently. He even outright tells them to die. If he killed them, it half complicates our ending. Dormammu attacks Eternity while Doctor Strange wants his own revenge, and he is in the middle of it. Doctor Strange, he is caught in the middle of this big cataclysmic energy battle, and Doctor Strange, he experiences all the good of the universe and all the evil of the universe all at once. And this is sort of from Strange Adventures 146. I'm sure Mark Shalusky will be commenting like crazy down below about all the different Steve Englehart stories this is also mining. He'll be saying I should review them, even though I don't have any. And I don't really have any intention of getting them, because while maybe they are good, I don't like Steve Englehart, so I approach his comics with hesitancy, because there's a chance I won't like them like I don't like most of his comics. The end is somewhat corny with Doctor Strange, this evil Doctor Strange, having been exposed to the pure goodness of Eternity. He has now chosen to serve the forces of good now, and he becomes Tilda Swinton's apprentice and starts wearing a green costume. I don't know if he keeps his fuck buddy arrangement with Uma Thurman after he pulls this Karma Houdini rebirth. This is good stuff. Peter Gilbert, he wrote a few what-ifs that are surprisingly good. I think this might be his best one. But I am lightly giving it so much credit because Doctor Strange fucked the baddest bitch in his playpen. I have to give it 7 thumbs up for that alone.